What's up, everyone?
It's Dani
and Nick.
Today we're talking about all the things of planning a trip through Italy. If you've seen any of our other videos, we traveled Venice, Florence, Rome, but this will be a general video, so if you want to go to different cities than we did, we will not just specifically talk about our trip, but how to plan a trip in general, the best tips and tricks from start to finish. And before we get into it, please give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel down below. Now let's get into it.
The first step when planning a trip to Italy, or really anywhere, is to figure out the places that you want to go. The way we do this is we actually go to Google Maps and print out a map and just start marking off the places that we think would be really fun to go travel. And then we go to somewhere like Instagram, Pinterest, and just start searching like best things to see and do in all the places that we circled on the map. And then you kind of can see which list is longer, which one looks like are the things like, oh, I definitely want to go do that, whatever it might be. Then you got kind of go back to your map and say, all right, well, these are the ones that have the longest list that we definitely want to go see. You know, we'll star those, and that's what we're definitely going to go do.
And with that being said, that is why we started creating best things to see and do videos, because we used them so much while planning our trips. So we figured we could hopefully help someone else out, and we've been getting so many comments on our video. Thank you so much. This is really helping me plan our trip. So if you would like to check out our Venice, Florence, Rome videos, go check those out. But our next step is actually to create an itinerary. And you might create 10 itineraries because we create so many and try to play around with what works best. So what we do first is to make a list of the dates that we're gonna be there. So when we did Italy, we had 17 days, so I wrote each day out, and then more specifically took what I got from the best things to see and do, and then also used someone like Rick Steves. His books really lay out what you can do in one day. So then you see what is close to each other, what you can actually get done in one day. Try to plan out how many days you're gonna need in each city. So once you have a basic itinerary of how many days you're gonna need in each place and get to see everything that you would wanna see, you need to start looking at transportation costs, because sometimes traveling during the week is a lot cheaper, and if you're gonna be doing trains, you need to book your trains beforehand. We'll get into that. But it is important to look at different options and maybe have one less day somewhere and have one more day somewhere else to cut down on those travel costs. So to get a little bit more specific about traveling through Italy, we found that it's the most easy way to travel by train. So we took train from Venice to Florence and from Florence to Rome. We know that the train went other places because we did look at it. So you should definitely look into it. You have a secure seat on the train if you order your tickets beforehand, and then you know how much it costs. So we would highly recommend just getting those tickets while you're planning your trip online and not just show up to the train station not knowing if you can get on that train. And you could always get a rental car, however, it is more expensive. You have to deal with driving in a place you don't know. The drivers in Italy are a little bit crazy, so you don't want to have to deal with that. And you're probably going to be able to walk to most things anyways. And if not, there are local transportation like the public bus or Uber or taxis. So you'll be able to get somewhere. You definitely don't need a car while in Italy. You can make sure that you can walk to places by looking at the accommodations. So next thing with accommodations, look around at your options. Find where you're gonna wanna do most of your activities and try to stay in that location so you can walk most days, if not every day. That would be very helpful, convenient, and you won't have to spend any money on transportation.
It would be cheaper to stay outside of the city, but then you got to think about the transportation cost to get into the city, and we find that most of the time if you do some research, you can find a place that's pretty close to most of the major attractions that you're gonna want to do in the city that isn't that expensive and would actually be more cost effective than staying way outside of the city.
If you're traveling with a group of friends or a bigger family, staying in an Airbnb is a great option because you can split the cost, it's super easy, and you'll have your own space and you can save money by cooking as well. It is going to be so much fun to eat in Italy because oh my goodness, that food is to die for. But even if you just ate out for dinner every night and cooked breakfast and lunch, that's a great way to save money. And if Airbnb isn't up your alley, there are so many great hotels that aren't too expensive either. You just gotta pick where you think you should stay.
Although you don't want to forget the most important transportation piece, and that is actually getting your flight to Italy. Some things that we think you should keep in mind to actually get the best price is to play around with some of the different like hubs that fly to Italy. So like I know London's one of them, Frankfurt, There's a few different places that if you are willing to do a connecting flight there, and especially like if you're going to stay in a layover, then you can get a much cheaper flight to Italy. You also want to consider the different places in Italy. Like we said, say we did Venice, Florence, Rome, although we did look at flights instead of flying to Venice, flying to Rome and doing it backwards. That flight could be significantly cheaper, and you just want to like kind of look at sites like Skyscanner and Pomelo to like look at all the different flights and see which one's going to be like the most economic for that time period.
So those are the basic tips and tricks that we have for you planning a trip through Italy. As we said, you start off with that blank slate, get a map, figure out where you want to go, do a little bit more research, go online, find the best things to see and do and what you specifically want to do. Figure out the transportation costs, whether that's a train or a rental car. As we said, train is probably the better option. Get that international flight. You might have to stop in London to get a cheaper flight. Don't just do Atlanta to Italy, do Atlanta to London and then London to Italy and see how much you can save that way. And then accommodations as well, Airbnb or a hotel, and try to stay centrally located so you don't have to travel too much every day to get to your locations.
As we mentioned, we have best things to see and do in Italy videos. We'll leave those linked down below. While you're down there, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And if you have any questions about planning your trip to Italy, definitely leave them in the comments down below, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.